Right now, with the money in your pocket, what are you really buying? A new item? Or are you selling your freedom in installments? Listen, my friend, I'm going to tell you the story of two friends who lived in the same building and sweated in the same office, William and Alexander. At the end of every month, they both earned the same salary, but their minds worked in completely different ways. William was a true, let's enjoy life kind of guy. The moment his paycheck came in, his first stop was always those famous, brightly lit restaurants. "I worked hard. I deserve this," he would say, ordering the most expensive meals. On weekends, he escaped to trips that looked perfect on Instagram, but in reality, pushed his credit card limit all the way to the edge. The fancy coffees he drank outside every day gave him a feeling of normal and status. William's credit card statement was like an inflation list from the collapse period of the Roman Empire. In every line, another destruction was hidden. Alexander, on the other hand, chose a completely different path. While people laughed at him and said, "Why don't you come to those expensive dinners with us? Why aren't you living?" Alexander just smiled. He cut every unnecessary penny, but he didn't put his money under the pillow either. With the small amounts he set aside, he began making small investments that most people had only heard the names of. Dividend-paying stocks, small funds. Little by little, he quietly built a passive income machine. Even while Alexander was sleeping, those small investments were working for him, buying him time. At the end of the third year, the expected storm broke out. Things went downhill at the office. Salaries were delayed. For William, that moment was the beginning of a nightmare. His home was filled with expensive furniture. His closet was full of clothes, with the tags still on. But his bank account was a massive zero. William hadn't built himself a comfortable home. He had built a debt prison, whose walls he had raised with his own hand. He could no longer say no to the boss he hated, because the installment payments from those luxury vacations had grabbed him by the throat. Alexander, meanwhile, was still sitting calmly at the same old desk. There was no debt waiting to be paid in front of him, and no inflated vacation installment. The small amounts William scattered around every day, saying, "Just this once," were investment tools for Alexander. Those investments had now turned into a massive, protective shield. The small amounts that were once dismissed were now rising around Alexander like an unbreakable fortress wall. While a storm of debt and stress was raging outside, Alexander's inside was quiet. One morning, Alexander simply took his jacket, looked at his desk one last time, and walked out of the office. He resigned. Was it because he was rich? No. It was because his passive income gave him the power to say no. William, on the other hand, had to lower his head and keep working, because William had become a cog in the system. Never forget this. Most people don't lose their lives because of a big disaster. They lose them through unnecessary spending, justified by saying, "I deserve this," handing their lives over to others in small installments. Those who notice early, like Alexander, find the most expensive treasure in the world, in that silence, their own time. So tell me, with that money today, will you buy a temporary desire, or will you build your own freedom?